You've been a barber for how long?
A little over 20 years.
What got you started on cutting hair?
90210. I'll elaborate. So I grew up watching 90210. During that time, long hair on top, sideburns was in. My dad was a very clean cut person, and he always wanted me clean cut. And so he would literally pull my ear to see if the hair was touching my ear, and that was an indicator for him to cut. I needed a haircut. The problem is that when the length of the sides touched my ear, the length on top was actually at the length that I wanted it. I liked it a little longer and a little shorter. We went to my aunt's one day. I went to use her restroom. For whatever reason, I was looking under the sink and I found some clippers. And immediately I thought to myself, oh man, I'm about to get a haircut and my hair is looking just how I want it on top. Maybe if I just clean up a little bit. So now that I'm telling this story, my barbering started out of weaseling my dad. I basically was trying to clean it up so that he would think that I didn't need a haircut, when in reality, according to his standards, I did need one. This went on for a couple of months, and we kept, hey, let's go back to my aunt's. I always wanted to go to my aunt's house to clean myself up because I knew a haircut was coming. After a few months, he went and checked my, to see if the hair was touching. He was like, your hair hasn't been touching. Have you been cutting yourself? And I told him, look, Dad, yes, I've been trimming myself up. I really like my hair longer. It's saving you money. And, I really want to, continue to do this. I'll make sure that I'll keep gelling and it'll be neat. It won't be sloppy. So he had, I basically sold him on me continuing to give myself a haircut.
You run your shop and it's called Barber to You. How did Barber to You get started?
So Barber to You started out of a necessity. Back originally when I had started it, I was going through a custody battle. I have a 25-year-old, and he at the time was right around 6 or 7 when it started. He just needed for me to step in there and have a more pronounced and prominent role in his life. I didn't want to be every other weekend dad. But I also realized that I couldn't, if I was awarded custody, it would be hard to have him to maintain my clientele and work at a barbershop. And I didn't want to disrespect the owner by limiting my availability when I knew he needed somebody to be there more full time. And I really needed to scale back so that I can spend more time with my son after school and summers and things like that. I left Alfaro's barbershop, which was where I was at with George, and I went to a different barbershop, and I went in looking, and I had conditions. I had a schedule, and if they wanted me to work with them or for them, they needed to respect my schedule. I found a place. That quickly, it was good, but I had a lot of demand, so they wanted obviously for me to be there longer because I produced more money. So that didn't work, and then I was trying to figure out what to do. So I was watching TV. I was watching Yo MTV Raps, and they were doing an interview on Nelly, and Nelly had a tour bus. He had a tour bus, and so they're interviewing him. And what caught my attention was that a barber was lining him up. And so I look at it, I was like, oh, that's not, I'm always trying to learn from other barbers. I'm check out some of his techniques and his overall approach. And then the camera pans out and it's inside of his tour bus. So not that the bus itself was turned into a barbershop, but he was just getting a haircut in there, and that sparked the idea for me. But I thought, man, that was it. Maybe let's go mobile. Maybe put a barbershop into a vehicle. What kind of a vehicle? So I was looking at buses, RVs. I was looking at all kinds of different options. I finally found an RV that was gutted out, that had been stolen, and an insurance company was selling it. And lo and behold, I went for it. I bought it, rebuilt it to be a barbershop, and I was able to operate out of there and take care of my son.
Now, you did that for a couple of years, and then you bought your shop. How long have you owned this shop?
So we're entering our 12th year here at the barbershop. Right from that, I had once I got the shop, I still kept the Barber to You name because it meant a lot to me, because we still were going to people. So I developed quite a large clientele. I already had a clientele established for myself. But the demand was so big, and now some of my clients weren't able to come to the shop anymore, so I was going to them. So I was still Barber to You. I'm still continuing to provide services for people who can't come to us. And to me, it's important. It started off with, doing it for out of a need, and then that need, it just kept growing. It just kept evolving into whatever was next, whatever the next step was. And then it came to a point where driving around and going to places just wasn't working anymore. The demand was too big. I needed like more of an establishment. So, I decided to make the move, and we opened up this shop. Actually, I had been looking at this place for a long time prior, for a couple years prior. And the gentleman that owned the place, he wasn't ready to retire. So I kept checking back. And then one day, while eating at the San Franciscan, I went to take a look and see that it was if it was available still, or what his story was. And he literally had a note on there, letting his clients know on the door that he was retiring. But basically, he had just left the shop, and he left 2 chairs in it. He left a barrel in it, which we still have, and a cash register. But yeah, it was literally a lease takeover.
You started with just yourself and one other barber, and now you have how many other barbers / hairstylists working with you?
I started with just myself. It was just me. And then another barber came along, Bob the Barber. He came along. He was the first one to join me. Now, currently, there's 7. There's 7 of us here. Out of this barbershop, we've had 2 people open up barbershops. We've had 2 people open up studios, and we've had countless people come in and learn. I've had 3 apprentices under me. I've shared my knowledge with people, and they share theirs with me, because there's so many different avenues to haircutting. I've mastered and been pretty proficient at cutting men's hair, blends, fades, flat tops, all the classic haircuts. Now what I'm really looking at is to develop more of my shear game, more of my shear skills for long layered cuts, more just different haircuts, textures, and so forth. I'm also learning to do more beards with just the shears also. You call yourself a master barber just because that's a title of someone who's been continuously holding a license for, I believe it's 8 years or something like that, maybe 5 years now. That's all. But I don't view myself as a master barber. I view myself as a master student. That's what I want to always be.
You're very big on giving back to the community, and you do haircuts for veterans. How does that make you feel when you're talking with somebody who's been through the trials and tribulations of being called into active duty, to help them? I know it's something small with a haircut, but how does that make you feel when you go out and do these things for our veterans?
Still respect and appreciate the sacrifice that our veterans have done, but their act and the fact that they risked their life and they went out there, that's commendable. Just for that alone, I think that that's something that's worthy whenever you do something for another human being, and your intentions are good. I support that, and a lot of them are not, they have a need. Really feel fulfilled when I'm able to do things for them.